Members, the House is resumed under urgency. When we were last debating, we're on the interrupted debate on the second reading of the Taxation, Budget Measures Family Income Package Bill. And speaking at that time was Sarah Dowie, and she has 8 minutes remaining if she wishes. Obviously, she doesn't want to take the call, so the next call goes to, this is a split call, I'm calling Marama Davidson, 5 minutes for the Green Party.
Mr Speaker, thank you. I rise to speak on the second reading of the Taxation Budget Measures Family Incomes Package Bill. Mr Speaker, this bill is part of a budget package that reminded me of a scene from a movie, the movie Mad Max Fury Road. There's a scene in the movie where at the end the tyrant who has taken control of all the water and kept it away from the people, finally turns the taps on for the people. And he turns the giant taps on and the people are clamouring to get their bit of water, and they're cheering and they're yelling because they have been denied water for so long. So there's cheering and yelling, and he turns the tap on and then he turns it off a few seconds later. The water is only on for a few seconds. Now, and then that's it for the people. So, Mr Speaker, I was thinking about that. I was thinking that this bill turns that tap on to what has been denied families for years and communities for years who desperately needed the help, and this is a small trickling drop. For our lowest income families, this bill is a trickle. And in the words of the Child Poverty Action Group, what we need instead is a tide to actually make meaningful change. So, Mr Speaker, increasing the lowest tax thresholds and increasing the child payment rates under the family tax credits will get more money to people on lower incomes, and we support that, yes. This bill increases working for families' payments because costs are high, especially at the moment with housing. And so it is unfortunate that the government has hooked the tax cuts for the lowest incomes to tax cuts for the higher incomes. The Greens do not support tax cuts for higher incomes. People themselves on higher incomes do not support tax cuts for higher incomes. They have been clear that they would prefer to have well-funded public services and provisions and a country where people have enough to live well. So, like everyone, the Greens are not fooled by this government's bill, which is pretending to fix up some of the big mess that the government designed. And this government wants to pretend it is finally making the changes that our country desperately needs after having run social services into the ground, like social housing, like education support staff, like mental health and addiction support services, into the ground, when in actual fact this government once again has made decisions for the past, not for the future. Like the fact that the largest share of the tax cuts under this bill will go to families on more than $127,000 a year, around $33 a week for them, while those on the lowest incomes, less than $24,000 a year, will only get maybe $5 if they're lucky. Those tax cuts for higher incomes will come at the cost of even more public services, and the Greens know that is the opposite of what we need. So $5 extra is pittance for people on lower income, but at the moment, sadly, that $5 makes a difference. Makes a meaningful difference, does $5, and we should not be proud of that. Some families have become so used to scraping a meal together on so little that $5 extra is actually a thing. It's a deal. And so the Greens won't stand in the way of that. But this bill does not do what is really needed to improve the lives of people on the lowest income and help us all benefit from stronger communities everywhere. And the Greens will keep fighting for those more meaningful changes, while not standing in the way of the potential of what this bill has to offer to our lowest income families. We will keep working for the real changes We understand the true value of communities of people who have enough to live and survive and live a meaningful life, because that is the leadership that we need. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call Dr Megan Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my